guys that it was a shorter countdown. It wasn't.
I just saw that. It's like I haven't shared it.
I'm trying to share it.
Happy Monday, everyone.
I haven't shared it.
Surprise!
Surprise!
Sorry.
Okay, it's going chaos. Okay.
Sorry, guys. For everyone jumping on, we usually have a 1 minute countdown for our awesome roundtable events. And today was like, I don't know, 12 seconds.
Yeah, it was a
super
shorter
short.
one. I forgot actually that I made
So
it shorter. I was like, don't let me forget to tell. But a lot's been going on for those of you guys that like follow our stories. There's been a lot going on lately. So I forgot to tell everybody that it was a shorter countdown.
Hi,
But
Debbie.
welcome everyone to a very special Monday event. And today's
With our favorite ladies.
with our most favorite ladies on the planet, the experts, the
cat whisperers.
whispers, the coolest cats on the planet. Julianne Thorne from Naturally Cats, Pam Russell with Purrrfectly Holistic, and none other than the legendary Dr. Katie Woodley from The Natural Pet Doctor. Welcome, ladies, and thank you guys for joining us. We're very excited about today's event and everything that we will be talking about, which is indoor and outdoor kitties and the key to a happy cat.
Yes.
Still trying to do it.
I see the look on her face. Like,
I'm just like, I don't know how to share this thing because it wants to play the video. I'm like, where's
you
this?
got to scroll down the page. Scroll down. Facebook puts a little video like as a pop out. If you scroll down to their page, close that. Scroll down the page, you'll find the actual post, and you should be able to share it.
Yeah, I think you need an assistant. We're very excited about
Sign me up.
Their page, close that. Scroll down the page, you'll find the actual post.
It's all good.
Your phone come.
I am so tech challenged. Oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing.
Well,
Just
see,
carry on.
this is what I said. I was like, do you think it'll bother Pam?
She asked me last
Because
week.
that
I was
we
like,
have
no,
a
just let
shorter
her know.
countdown.
And then we never did. We
Sorry.
never let you know.
Sorry about that. This is our bad. Total our bad.
It's all good. We have to be flexible. It's okay.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's our lesson for today.
Okay, I did it. Yay!
Hey, she's here.
Yeah, we're
Yay.
all, we made it. Okay, we have arrived. Monday, everybody. Hey to everyone joining us. Sorry for the little technical difficulties there at the top. For let's go around the horn one more time, just with a quick intro for everyone. The horn. Go around the horn.
How about we go around the table?
Go around the table. with a
Okay,
quick-
let's do that. I'll kick us off. So, hi everyone. My name is Julianne Thorne. I'm a holistic cat therapist and soul activator, a new label I'm adding to my things that I can do. So I help people to reconnect with their cats, to understand what's going on with them energetically, emotionally, and I help the humans as well to understand how they can support their cats and how they can grow and open their hearts to have a much, much deeper connection with their cat. So I use a mixture of chakra sensing, cat communication, and basically help to bring the two species together.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
We're very excited. We've got an appointment with you later this week with our little Grace. We're very excited.
Pam!
Well, hi, I am Pam Russell with Purrrfectly Holistic. I am a board certified holistic health practitioner, and I work mainly with cats. And my passion is helping to find the root cause of an issue and then find the tools that the body needs to heal itself. And my favorite preferred tool is muscle testing or energy testing. And so I am just honored to be here and honored to be in service to pets and their amazing pet parents or cat parents specifically. But yeah, it's fun.
Honored to have shared the post.
And I have shared the post. And I am tech challenged.
Katie.
Used to be. What's your language? Used to be tech challenge. Growing every day.
Growing. That's right. That's right.
Awesome. Well, I love all of you and I love all the pet parents and cat parents joining us today. I'm Dr. Katie Woodley, holistic veterinarian and founder of The Natural Pet Doctor. And I am on a mission, just like so many of these other beautiful ladies are, to help empower pet parents across the globe, being able to use fresh food nutrition, herbal medicine, essential oils, natural tools, and remedies to help improve your pets' lives. I work with both dogs and cats, but I have a special place in my heart for all those kitty cats. So, but don't tell the dogs that. So, but super excited to be with all of you.
Oh my God, I'm so glad to see all your faces today. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
She was about to flourish.
She was.
So today's topic is all about indoor and outdoor cats. So we have, I know it can be kind of a controversial topic for a lot of people because it's, everybody has a different situation as far as indoor and outdoor cats. I know Dr. Katie used to have cats that were indoor, outdoor when she lived in New Zealand. Was it New Zealand?
It was New Zealand. Yep.
Yeah. And that was fine. Now where she lives, it's not so fine. So situations are different for all of us, but we want to discuss it with you guys and with each other to see where what works and what we should all know as cat parents to keep our cats safe and healthy and happy, right?
Yes.
Please.
Okay.
Hey, Julianne, I want to kick this off with you because I think back to our days when we were in Tennessee and we literally had a window with a broken screen in it that we kept open. It was like the kitty door and we had indoor, outdoor, and they never even thought about what kind of dangers were out there. I mean, 25 years ago, it was like cats, they're indoor, outdoor. Now I can't imagine letting babies out.
Well, we lost Blue.
Right. We lost Cleo's little sister. She just
disappeared. And then
and that was the end of the open window. But I want to start with you because I love how your boys are indoor and outdoor. So let's kick it off with your boys.
Yeah, my boys, I would say they're like a hybrid, So I think for us humans, our past experiences do influence our choice of indoor or outdoor. Not only do we have to look at environmental factors and all that stuff, which I know we will, but our emotions also impact what we do with them, how safe we feel they are, and how much fear we have around whatever choice we make, whether we keep them indoors or let them outdoors. So my two boys are indoor and outdoor, and Leo particularly, he was feral for the first 18 months. So when we got him from the rescue center, they said, keep him inside for 6 months and then you can let him out, let him acclimatize to his territory. We actually kept him in for 12 months because it took him so long to trust, to build a relationship with him. I thought that when we let him out, he wouldn't come back. That even 12 months later, we were still a bit, okay. So we started to take him out on a lead in the garden. We did some behavior training at home first. So we would have him sniff the, what's it called? Harness. We would have him sniff it. We'd give him a treat. We'd touch it on his fur. We'd give him a treat. This was over a couple of days and then a couple of weeks. Then we would clip it on around him or pretend to clip it and give him a treat. So you build up, their resistance to it. You reduce their sensitivity. And we would walk him in the garden. So now we're at a stage, and I look this way because that's where they go. And we've got, you see a bit of daylight. We've got the woods. We're back onto natural woods. So we've got, sorry, I laugh because I once said to my dad, I thought I saw a bear, and he was like, in the UK, I don't think so. So we don't have bears, but we do have the bear of Buena Vista. We have foxes and we have badgers and we have deer. We have a lot of neighborhood cats. What was that?
Honey badgers?
No. Oh my God, you too.
They don't.
Anyway, so we had it's always me. Always. And now I lost my train of thought, woman.
Well, you're talking about how now they're more bush
We have a lot
cats.
of cats.
Bush cats.
Yes. So we have dangers outside. They're not bush cats. That's Katie, isn't it? have access to outside when it's daytime, basically. So I've tried to reach a compromise, because if we kept Leo in as an indoor cat, he would be over grooming. He would be weeing around the house. I would have a lot of behavioral reactions, right? Because he would be stressed from not having access to outside. As soon as someone rings our doorbell, he runs through the cat flap. He goes outside, because the big wide world is his safe space. So but I do have fear. I have fear of, hearing the neighborhood cats and the wildlife. And so when it becomes dark, I bring him in. I ask, I call for him. We've got quite a good schedule, and of course with the time with the seasons, at the moment they're in at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. A couple of weeks time they'll be out until 9, 10ish. They can have the daylight and a little bit of darkness, but I have fear of them being out overnight. So I try to compromise between what's good for them, which is access via a cat flap out most of the day if they choose to be, and then in safe overnight, so that I know that they're getting a good night's sleep and that they're okay. So they have a hybrid kind of setup. Yeah.
And I feel like it's, I know that all of us let our cats go outside as well, like everyone here, because I feel like there clearly is something to, even for us, right? Touching your feet to the earth, like how grounding it is. And when you think about a wild animal, 95.6% tiger, right? Still DNA wise, these little beings being able to be outside, I feel like is so enriching for them and so, helpful. So sometimes, like for a long time, I felt like we weren't letting our cats outside at all. And I felt like we were depriving them of something that that could be so enriching and fundamental for them because of that fear, because we were just scared that they were going to hear a sound and go running off, or that, we wouldn't have enough time, or that it might be too stressful, or, all the different excuses that we make as humans. Now it's a daily thing. Pam, what about your what about your little devils?
Well, let me back up, because before I lived where I live now, we didn't have a fenced in yard of any kind. And so we did not let them just go outside and roam around, because we lived right off of a major street. So it was not a safe environment for them to just free roam wherever. And so Dr. Lynn Barr challenged me to find ways to let them have outdoor experiences. So I did train them on the leash, on a harness. And so I would start taking them out on the harness, and I would actually tether the harness when I was outside and let them kind of just roam around and everything. But I would be out there kind of watching and just make sure they were okay. And they really, really loved being out there and, walking through the grass and into the empty lot next to us that had some bushes and all that kind of stuff. And so they were really curious about all of that. And that was great. When I moved here, we have an actual backyard now. And keep in mind, my cats have never seen a fence. I mean, they don't know what a fence is for. But they've never climbed the fence. They've never climbed the tree that's in the middle of the yard back there, but they love to go sit in the flower beds, and they love to watch the birds. And of course, Aylin is my little murderer, and she's gotten at least one bird and a rabbit, a baby last year. I was very upset about. But she's just doing what comes natural to her. And it was more, it's like, oh, something's moving and I can catch that. She's such a play monster.
Nature, right?
It is. It really is nature. And so I will let them go in the backyard now without me supervising, because they understand that this is their boundary and they don't try to cross that boundary. They stay put. They love to just be out there in the sun. And sit in the chairs around the tables that we have out there. You'd think that they were just living the life, but they love being in the sunshine and being in the grass and just being stimulated by what's around them in nature. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I'm happy that they can do that in a safe environment, because nothing can come in and hurt them. And they really, really love it. But they don't stay out all day. They'll stay out for a little bit and then they want to come in. So I am the doorman. I am the butler. When they knock on the little door back in the kitchen, it's like I know when they want to come in, and I'm just like, okay, and I go open the door, let them in. So we have a system going. It's great. It's working.
I'd like to just also bring up that she also gets baby alligators.
She does get baby alligators.
Wait, what?
What?
Those lizards, this is like hill country. There's hill country lizards and they look like baby alligators. Yeah, she's caught a couple of those too. I've managed to rescue most of them. Yeah.
I love you for your efforts. Dr. Katie, what about your babes?
Yeah, so they're a little bit different. So my 3 Black Panthers that we currently have, when we lived in New Zealand, New Zealand's wonderful because there's like no wildlife, like there's birds and there's nothing like coyotes and foxes or bears or, I felt very comfortable with them roaming. Now, on a side story, that also kind of created the fear inside of me, right? Because we're like, I love what Julianne said, like, it can be a controversial topic, but it's like a belief, right? Whether you decide to have your cats go indoor, outdoor, whether you choose to like control their movements and behaviors, like there is no right or wrong, but it comes down to also how you feel about it too. And so when we actually moved back to the States and sold our house, my Stanley cat went missing. And we literally had to catch a ferry at like 5 a.m. And so, he's out somewhere, I don't know where, roaming the countryside in New Zealand. And I'm roaming the countryside calling Stanley's name, looking for him. And this little gray cat just, little tail comes through. And that was kind of the end of that, because the amount of stress and like emotional like angst that I went through, I now am fearful of, just releasing them. And so we're in a very different situation now in Colorado where we have coyotes, like I hear them at night. We have huge hawks and bald eagles like flying around us, and owls too. And it's just one of those things where we like back onto a nature preserve, which would be wonderful for them, right? However, it's very dangerous for them. There's lots of dogs in the neighborhood. And with our 3 cats now, they're all a little bit different. Our Tico, he's very confident, and he's the one that we do a lot of outdoor time with. He has to have that because he will sit by the back door and meow and be really upset. It's very important for him because he did spend probably the majority of his life as an outdoor cat before we rescued him. So that's very important. Our other 2 cats are very like timid and skittish. And we have a cat that has cerebellar hypoplasia. So I would never put him outside unsupervised. Like he wouldn't last very long. Like, a hawk comes in, there'd be so, things like that I have to think about. And also too, he doesn't like being put in a harness. And there's, he's very happy to sit at the screen door and watch. And so we create other ways for enrichment inside for him. And Kiwi's the same. She would be one that would bolt, and then we wouldn't be able to find her, which would be very stressful for all of us. So my cats are a little bit different. I would love for all of them to go outside with us, but I also look at, well, what stresses them? What are the things that they feel happy with? And they love like the indoor like setups that we've created for them and the enrichment, and we make sure that we play with them and we engage with them. But Tico, he has to have that outside time. So that is definitely something where, we sit with him. He loves sitting by our fire, like our outdoor fireplace too. Like the summer, it's crazy. I'm like, this cat just sits next to us and there's like a crackling fire. He's just an outdoor boy. He loves it. And so I think it's important for every person here to like assess, for one, what works the best for my cat. There is a lot of truth to the grounding and being outside and the air and, the energy that comes with outdoors. But also too, if it's a stressor for you and also a huge stressor for your cats, remember our emotions and our feelings and our thoughts are also going to come across onto our cats, and they're going to feel that. And so, if you're super you have a lot of angst and stress about going outside with them, find other ways to enrich the household, the inside for them too. This isn't one right or wrong way of, taking care of your cats. And I know every single person here agrees with that. And I think that's real. It's not black or white. So I think it's important. We've all had different experiences, and your experiences change too with each cat.
Yeah, I'll tell you with ours, it's literally only been about a month and a half. We used to take them out. We had this big mesh tent with a huge tunnel, and we would take Friday and Zorro out there, and then Pooh Bear and Twist we would just supervise them and let them kind of roam the yard, and then we stopped because it got kind of actually we stopped because there was an event that caused fear in us when there was a smell or something of another cat, and I don't know if it was Pooh Bear or Twist. They were digging.
It was Twist that was digging near the tent. He was just kicking up some leaves, and it was like all of a sudden the Panthers did not recognize him, and in the tent, in the tunnel part,
all of them just went at each other. Like it was a huge cat fight all of a sudden, and they weren't even like it was between the mesh, right? But they all just turned on each other. And that became, we had to separate them and slowly introduce them back to each other as far as yeah. So it was, so we stopped for a while until Twist started taking a turn for the worse with his health. And we always knew that he always loved to go outside. And so we started making the time every day to bring him outside, which made all the other cats want to go outside. So then we started putting them in the catio. We have this tiny little catio.
It's not too tiny. It's got 6 nice little
it's nice.
It holds them. But you also have to know your cats, right? Like Jack is not he's starting to get there now, but he was like, I don't want to go out there. I don't want to and when we would bring him out, he would be trying to scratch his way back in, just let me back inside. Because he doesn't want that. Whereas the Black Panthers, I wish I had a total run for them, because I want them to I wish they could just,
they would go crazy.
It's tiny for them because they just get to jump up here and then jump up there. But I want them to be able to get all that energy out and run, right? Outside. So we'll work on something, but you also have to know your cats, because not every cat wants to go outside either.
Yeah, it's been crazy to see. I think Zorro's a lot like your Tico. He finishes breakfast, he jumps in the carrier, he's like, I'm ready to go outside. Friday's a lot the same way. They both know, but they also let us know when it's time to come in. They'll just be like,
they meow. We're like, you ready? We bring the carrier over, they jump in, we're like, okay.
But they all get really used to it. I'm the one that I'm scared of the outdoors for a number of reasons, right?
Hawks, coyotes.
The hawks, coyotes, if they were to get loose, even though we try to do it in a very safe way, just the transportation from the house to the catio, in their stroller, and making sure that it's some cats can be squirrely. And that's what has happened before in the past when we had Friday and Zorro on harnesses. Something in the neighbor's yard went off, and those two backed out of their harnesses and leashes
in a split
just
second.
Like that. It was what?
And they went running in opposite directions. So we were like that was a really scary event, which stopped us from the fear, and then stopped us from maybe we don't do leash training.
But let's talk a little bit too about environmental scariness. I think that a lot of us, for the longest time, we used to have, because we had scorpions here, and it's like, oh, well, you've got to get the scorpion pest guy. And it's like, oh, it's totally pet safe. But is it if they're out there eating the grass or doing, so we stopped pest control years ago. But I think that's also a concern for people who live in a community or an apartment. Even if they're taking their babies out in a lead, thinking about what kind of environmental
toxin exposure.
Yeah, maybe out there.
True.
Yeah, I mean, that's a thing too. Even if you're not spraying stuff, and it's not here to create fear, it's to create awareness, because then we can do better. But keep in mind, if we have neighbors that spray their yard and that stuff drifts miles. So if you have someone that's spraying, we have farmland too, that, crops are sprayed. They spray for mosquitoes. And so, Tico loves eating the grass. So it's one of the things. So here's what I do personally, take it for what it's worth. You know, if it resonates, great. If it doesn't, just leave it, let it be. Tico loves eating the fresh grass, and I let him. I know that our neighbors spray. So what I do when he does that is I support his detox pathways with supplements. So I know that if we're creating, you know, the ability to get rid of that stuff, we can't avoid everything, but I know that that's a potential exposure, so I can support for it. And so that way he gets his outdoor time. He's loving the grass. He's rolling around in it. We come back in. I get a wet like washcloth. I wipe him down and he gets his detox supplements. Like, so I'm supporting his body as best as I can. And I'm not removing the things that he loves the most, because I can't always control what other people are doing, but I'm very aware of it. So I think that's something to be aware of too. And if you live in an area where there are more of these toxins, it doesn't mean you can't do the things. It just means we become smarter about how we support the body.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think,
That's a really good point.
yeah, actually my cat tip today is on cat grass, is on allowing your cats to eat grass. And that is, what I noticed is that, and I can't remember exactly the amount of space, maybe one of you guys know, but it actually affects the soil. If somebody is spraying herbicides and like fertilizers and pesticides and those things, it affects the soil for miles. Like, because I know people that have said that they like all of everything that they grow is organic, but they can't certify organic because the next farm over way down is not, right? So, that's how big of a difference it makes in the soil. I've noticed when we don't have grass, we just said, screw it. We're not going to try to make that happen. We live in the desert. So we just have dirt out there, but it grows weeds. And, Twist used to go out, and whenever any of the cats would eat the grass, they would throw up, which, you know, is kind of like, it's kind of normal sometimes, right? For cats to eat that to help with their digestive system, right?
Or try to get a hairball
up or something like that. But we started offering them organic cat grass inside. They eat that and they never throw up. So I was like, I don't know, but I'm kind of thinking that this might have something to do with we live in a neighborhood, heavily populated, whatever. There's tons of chemicals, and everybody sprays their yards around here. Everybody treats their lawns.
Well, because there's scorpions. That's why.
Well, for pesticides, but I mean, they also have pretty grass, and they use fertilizers and all the other stuff and things, right? Probably glyphosate, like weed killers and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, inside and I just found this from ourselves, like inside, our cats don't throw up their cat grass.
And they love
it.
Yeah. Love chomping on it.
Yeah, I think like we need to, you know, we're talking about indoor and outdoor, you know, like there are so many different reasons as to why their environment, indoor or outdoor, is important. You know, like you talk about their exposure to toxins, absolutely something to be aware of. And like Katie said, when you know better, do better. So if they are they're exposed to something like that, how can you support their body? You know, when they go outside, definitely getting access to grass, you know, the nutrients and those tips and things, it helps digestion. But there's like, you know, depending on where you live, there are the other plants, the other elements that and like we talked about grounding, you know, they get to run so they can, you know, use the physical element of their body. Mental stimulation, you know, they're out there's different smells, they might catch something which, yes, some people are comfortable with, some people aren't. You know, I've had a chat with baby Max, who is definitely on board with our new mantra, which is dead through the door or not at all. So we've had 3 mice and I haven't been able to save them because they're rigid, so I'm happy as can be, you know. I know, right? But my choice to let him out. So, you know, it was hard when he was bringing them home, but he's a carnivore, he's a hunter, right? Those are natural instincts that he is exercising. So if they've got access to outdoors, or you've got space to keep them safe, great. You know, let's talk a bit about indoor cats, because, you know, if you don't have access to outside, or you're not comfortable giving them access to outside, because it's a two-pronged approach. There's your cat and their needs, and then there's the human, your emotions, right? Those are the two things. So lady said about, you know, you'd get the stroller ready and the cats would jump in, or Katie said one of her cats wasn't good on a harness. You know, you've got to know your own cat. So like when we first got baby Max, he was desperate to go out to be with Leo, to see what all the fuss was about. But I was like, not on your Nelly, no chance whatsoever. Like, you are not going outside until you are fully established in the home, which took him 6 months to come into the house and be established here, you know, and you've got a bond with Leo. So those relationships, those foundations, the territory was all really important. And we did harness work with him. But when, you know, that time when he's an indoor cat, we had to cater for his needs still. He still had energy to burn. He still needed physical movement. He still needed mental stimulation, which leads to good emotional health, right?
Mhm.
So how do you do that? You know, and I'd love to hear from you all, because we've got different cats, right? Katie's got the beautiful one, the cerebellar hyperplasia. Pam's got her 2. You guys have got 4. You know, can we do a round the kind of clock with, you know, what do you do for the indoor bits? Because there's been a couple of comments as well. I've seen people saying, like, you know, I live in a flat and what do I do? And, you know, we've got no soil and stuff. So, like, can we talk a bit, you know, go to you 2 ladies first with all your cats, about how do you support them inside? You know, how do you replicate for them all the goodness that they would get from being outside? How do you bring that in?
So a few different ways, right?
Yeah, I think the first one is really recognizing how much, you know, this whole thing is really about getting to know your cats, right? And inside, that vertical space has been so fascinating to see how the cats utilize it. And all of them. And we've obviously incorporated a lot of vertical space and middle space and lower space, and watching how they, I think Jackson Galaxy talks about, you know, creating different lanes of traffic for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's been fascinating to see how, you know, they really do love to sit and perch, or they like to kind of get into a little spot and just watch and see what's going on. But giving them those options, you know, at first we thought, we didn't even have a cat tree for years. We didn't even know about that. So, you know, we went out and got cat trees, and then it's like, oh, actually we could build something to give them a little more, you know, little hidey boxes on the
Or a
wall. They have
lot
to
of
crawl
something.
to, scratcher attached to the wall, a lot of something, yeah. But do they utilize as much as I wish they would? Not all the time, but they know it's there, and and they have their own little spot. So
Yeah.
they really do.
And it helps, as I was saying earlier, I want the Panthers and Jack, right, to be able to run. Like they love to run. And what
Madison gets the zoomies too.
Well, yeah, all of them,
Yeah.
right? We want them to be able to run. But what this does for them is what we can't give them outside, which is enough space to really run. They have this huge area where they can just zoom and run and make circles around the house. But it's like
cat track.
Yeah, like it's a total cat track.
And it sounds like elephants.
They also have a wheel that spins around. So, and this is good for, you know, places that if you have a smaller place, but and for the inside, so your cats can get that energy. Like ours is called like a one fast cat wheel.
And a word though too, that a lot of these things that we want to get to help enrich our indoor only cats, sometimes it's going to take some effort on our part. So like that wheel, it's like, I know a lot of people have been like, I got one of those wheels, my cats won't use it. For all of our cats, I think Madison was the only one that really, like, she got it right out of the box. But for the other ones, it's like, you know, you use a little wand toy or a little laser, and you let them understand what that is. And then, so it takes a little bit of
training.
In a way. Yeah.
Yeah. Or now they just like walk on it whenever they want to wake us up.
And I think one of the newest things that we're doing with our, that's true, 4:30 in the morning. We're like, the alarm goes off in 30 minutes, please. The other thing that we've been doing recently that they absolutely love is on a regular routine basis. We've done this sporadically before, but it's the cat TV. It's the birds. It's just watching them.
My God, guys, can I just tell you how freaking cute they are? So Adrian brought in our 2 stools, or the bar stools, just like this one. We have 4 of them. And so she brought in the other 2 and put it right in front of the television in their room. Basically, it's our living room, but it's their room. And put it right in front of the television. And every morning at so I get up at 5 now, and I have like a little routine or whatever. And I go over and I turn on the TV, and they come running. They hear that little sound. They come running and they jump up in their stools, and they are just watching. It's like toddlers, right? Where it's like, mommy's got some work to do before we eat breakfast. So,
cartoons.
So let's turn on some cartoons, and you jump up there. So freaking cute. So they love that. But listen, guys, there's something that every single one of us can do whether you make it yourself or you invest $12 in, the bird, right? A wand toy is a fantastic way. And it might be an Ariel, or it might be a bush cat. It might be like a little worm or something like that. But a wand toy is a great way to take your cats, if you can't take them outside, through the entire prey sequence, right? We learned this from feline behaviorists. Take them through that entire prey sequence where they go through that stalking and that hunting and that catching and that killing and all the steps in between, so that they can be enriched as cats and be what's the word I'm looking for?
Practice their feline instincts.
Yeah, yes. That's something that everybody can do, that whether you have a big space or a little space.
Yep. What about you, Pam?
I wanted to share this with people because I'm sure this may have happened to other people as well. I grew up for the majority of my life in the country in a small town, and we had a big lot, and it was a neighborhood, but there weren't a whole lot of houses. And so the cats that we had would go outside and inside, and they kind of stayed around our, backyard, front yard, and just kind of hung around our property. They didn't go far and roam or anything like that. Well, when I moved to Houston, the big city, to go to college, after I moved out of the dorms and into a condo, it was in the middle of a big, busy area. And I did what I had always learned and seen done growing up, is I let my cat outdoors, outdoors, indoors. And he was hit by a car and killed. So ever since that happened, I felt so guilty, like, oh my God, it's my fault because I let them outside and I didn't protect them. But I didn't understand that, I can't transfer my experience from living in the country to the same thing as living in the city and letting the cats out and them being safe. So that all being said, for years, I was just a big advocate of indoor only. I'm not. But then again, I was in a big city with a lot of traffic and all of that. So I think you just have to really be cognizant of your environment and where you live and how safe that area feels and how safe it would be for your cats. And if you can't let them go outside safely, it's just awesome to be able to use your imagination and creativity and provide outlets of the prey sequence, like you said, with the vertical space, setting aside that playtime every day. And, we can go spend a lot of money on expensive cat toys, but then they end up wanting to play with the top, the piece of paper that you threw in the garbage can, or the milk ring top, or, just something simple. You can just be creative and tap into things that they already like. Yes,
easiest, cheapest toy right here. Crumple up a piece of paper. And
it doesn't have to be expensive. We just have to put our thinking caps on and think in perspective of, what would my cat like? What does my cat do? What kind of behavior do they already exhibit? And how can I tap into that and give them an experience that can magnify that for them? So like you said, I love what you guys have done with your indoor space, because it's phenomenal. And it does take commitment, and it does take a little bit of funds to be able to do something extravagant like that. But you don't have to be so extravagant. Just like you said, even just a cat tree, but some kind of vertical space, or putting up shelves, on one wall in your bedroom or living room or whatever, and make that their fun space. I think you just have to be creative. The other thing that I love to do, that we used to do this a lot before I let them go outside, was we would open the windows, as long as the screens were, in place, just having that breath of fresh air. And they love to sit in the window and look outside and hear all the sounds and feel the fresh air and smell all the scents in the air. I think that's a great way to just bring the outdoors in.
That is, the other day we had one of like a really, really beautiful day. And we tend to open the windows down here, and they get excited for a minute and then they kind of get bored. We actually opened every window in the house, and they were like, What? They were so excited because they got to go like see and smell this view and go to this view. Yeah, it was really exciting. Opening windows also.
Yeah. And I would also say, don't be afraid to bring the outdoors in. So if there's a small tree branch that fell or some leaves or something else that you can bring inside that they can sniff, that they can, scratch on, that they can just kind of play around, that's also being very creative.
Yeah,
I love that. Yeah.
That's what spare litter trays are for. Bring the dirt in from outside, put it in a litter tray, give them the chance to just sniff at it, play around in it, enjoy it,
Love that.
Love that. Yep.
Katie,
Yeah.
what do you do for yours?
Yeah, it's funny. There's, if you've been around long enough, for all the cat parents listening, you've heard us laugh about like the bush cat, right? And this is like true example of like the different types of cats. Like, I know we're all laughing. So Tico, we have multiple cat towers. Moki loves going high, which freaks the heck out of me, right? This is the cerebellar hypoplasia cat that likes jumping high and goes up like rocket fire. Like, it's like you're sitting there and you're just like, there's going to be a broken limb. The cat loves it. So, the cat towers aren't super, super high. I would love to do what Jay and Adrian did with we have a lot of high ceilings in our main area. I would love to build like a little tower and things in terms of being able to, have them run. But I know physically Moki would do it and he would potentially fall. So his fall risk is really high. So once again, understanding like some of the health or physical limitations for cats, but still fulfilling those needs. Now, Tico, our bush cat, he has never been on one of our cat towers. He has never been up it. He will like scratch. He prefers also, the other thing too to keep in mind is, do you have vertical and horizontal scratching? That a lot of people miss the horizontal side. And, Moki and Botico love the corrugated cardboard, simplest, easiest, cheapest thing. And they just love it. So keeping in mind, where are our cats going? What are they hiding under? What are they like sleeping on? Another cheap option too for a toy and environmental enrichment is those Amazon boxes you get, the cardboard boxes. Cut a little hole and turn it upside down. And then you can play with them. It's great. And it's, our front room, we always joke, when pet sitters come over to take care of them when we're away, they're like, oh, you guys like cats? And I'm like, well, yes, we don't have children. These are our children. And so in the front room, there's, Ryan, my wonderful husband's built like cat scratchers and like teepees and things like this for them. And, being able to provide different places for them to sit in the sun. We have plants that are inside too that, Kiwi will also munch on and chew. So not just like the cat grass, but also utilizing some of just other natural plants and bringing it in so they can self-select what they truly want and need. The other thing too, I find with multi-cat households, the idea of the super highways, but also being aware that sometimes cats will like resource guard like stairs or a litter box. So making sure that you have options for those cats, because I know that Tico will block the stairs and he looks like he's just lounging and laying there, right? But Kiwi's super afraid to come and follow me into the office, which she absolutely loves if he's sitting there. So being aware of those things and being able to help support those emotional needs so it doesn't become a behavior problem down the road that can even manifest like a physical health condition like over grooming and hair loss, urinary problems, cystitis. So being aware of those things, like, going from 2 cats to 3 cats, we had to think a lot outside of the box and be very cognizant and aware of like the personalities and where, the needs of those cats. Very different, 1 to 2 to 3 cats, very different situation. And, I've really, really enjoyed it because it helps us increase the bond that I have with my cats. And it's always something too, like, what else can we do to enrich their lives? So if we can't always take them out, it's really nice to look at, okay, what are some of the other things? Are we playing with them enough? Are we using different types of toys like the wand toys, but even just crinkly toys? Kiwi loves it. Where the other 2 don't really care about the crinkly noise, but she goes fanatical for that. Like, you crinkle something, like, I'm surprised she's not in here just from this. And she like, that's the thing. Like, you know, just being aware of our cats and being able to support their needs just by utilizing different things. And it doesn't have to be a crazy expense either. You know, getting creative with what's around you and building things like, you know, my husband's so good at that. You know, he's built a lot of our stuff, which is great. You know, we didn't go and spend like $3,000 for the cat tower. We were able to build some of those same things.
Oh, I love that. He is so handy.
He is very handy. I am very blessed. The one thing though, I'm working on making like some
He
shelter.
won't hear you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The what?
He won't hear you. Go ahead.
He knows anyways, right? I really do want to build things like, you know, catify some of this, like, but once again, it's like for Moki, there is that hesitation, right? Is he going to fall off and do something silly just because he loves running? He gets the zoomies and his zoomies are wild. Like it is wild. The cat runs sideways when he's like running. It's amazing. I need to film it. It's impressive.
Yeah,
it's a monster. So
I love that. Julianne, what about you?
I everything all the ladies have said, all of it, love it. I think it's great. I mean, one thing I would say is like at the end, all of that stuff is so necessary, and yet also like irrelevant if we don't spend time, if we don't connect, if we're not on the other end of that piece of crinkle paper, right? You flick it and you let the cat go. I'm not saying this is what you do, Katie, but you know, if someone has it and like, you know, just flicks it or throws it for the cat, that's not you done. That's not engaging with your cat. You know, we in fact, whether we've got indoor and or outdoor cats, our interaction with them is one of the most important things. So having a cat tower and the levels, and I can't wait to move house because I am going to pimp my house like a mother person and have shelves everywhere.
I love it so much.
My house like you wouldn't even believe. But like we've got to engage with them. You know, baby Max, when he was in the summer room, we've got like an extension. I would go in and I was spent at the end of my day, like I was knackered. I just wanted to be, you know, zone out with a box set on TV. But I had to do, let me rephrase that. I chose to spend 2 hours with him before bedtime, you know, and he could have gone for another hour and we were playing. And he got bored very quickly because he was a kitten. So we used wand toys, we used balls, we used bells, we used balls with bells, we used wand toys with bells. You know, we used everything you could think of. We had to invent games. You know, sometimes I was just, you know, absolutely exhausted, but still just try to find a bit of energy to play and engage, you know, and be in there with the cat when you're on your phone. If you've got a wand toy and you're like this, you know, it's not going to engage them. You are not going to burn their energy. They are not going to be physically and mentally engaged. You're not supporting them. So do you know what? Do yourself and your cat a favor and either put your phone down and play with your cat or go and deal with your phone and come back to your cat later. You know, my boys, indoor and outdoor, I still play with them. I still have times when like baby Max has got a lot of energy. Maybe he's been out during the day and he's just having a growth day. I don't know. But I can see that Leo's like, would you back off? You know, Leo is not a playful cat, and he like gets a stare, and you're like, oh my god, don't poke the beast. I'm like, Max, you know, and I go and get a wand toy and start to play with him, even if he has access to outdoors, even though he's been out all day. I still make time to play with him if he needs it, because you know they have needs. We are asked. Baby Max has just come up the stairs because I called him. We are asking another species to come and live with us. We owe them the respect of understanding what their needs are and meeting them. And whether you've got an indoor cat, an outdoor cat, or a hybrid cat, you know, we have a duty to deal with those needs and to fulfill them as best that we can. And that will look different for everyone. You know, there was a lady that mentioned about she found a seagull feather in the car park at work and took it home. I always do that. I'm always picking up feathers on my walks, beautiful leaves, things like that, bringing them home. You know, you can, as you've all said, use your imagination. There is no limit to what you can do. There is no right or wrong, but you have to do something, indoor, outdoor, and you have to be on the other end of that.
And I think you guys all really nailed home too, just the whole point of, yeah, we are asking another species to come and live with us. And it's so important to understand the basics of cats, but also recognizing how each one of all of our cats have very different personalities, and how it does take time to really observe and to realize what it is that they really like, or what excites them, or what they want to do, and to take it everything. It's even talking about Jack not wanting to go outside, but always giving him the option. And sometimes he wants to go in the stroller and just outside the door. Sometimes he's good going in the catio with the other babies, but really paying attention to what they're trying to tell us as individuals, and doing our best to keep them safe. It's such a beautiful thing when we can let them exercise who they are.
Yeah.
And I love that we're getting braver with some of the enrichment things that we're doing as well. But
with our babies, yeah.
And
Diane,
is about personality.
Diane is asking about a catio, which, we had no idea what a catio was until we started our business as the Two Crazy Cat Ladies. And it was like, catio? What is that? I don't know. And then I think it's
like, a chicken coop.
It is an investment, right? It's something that we have visions for building our own. We have, like I said, a small one outside, pre-made, like we just put it together. But we have visions for a larger one, and that is if you have the time or the carpenter
experience,
quality, quality. What's the
ability? I don't know.
Talent. If you have the talent to build your own, or if you have the funds to have it built, a catio is a great thing that we give our cats, that while erasing the fear of them being exposed to dangers, where they're still getting that fresh air, they're still able to be outside, they're in an enclosed area, but they can still see everything, and they can still so I think a catio is a great idea.
Can I share something real quick on the catio thought? If you guys need inspiration, if you are a DIY kind of person, go look at Catio Guy on Instagram and Facebook. Oh my gosh, the stuff that he does is incredible, but it will give you a lot of really good ideas if you want to try to do your own thing.
Yeah, I was going to say too, when we moved in New Zealand, we had to, because we sold, my husband's a New Zealander, so we had to have a green card to come to the States. So we had a bit of a waiting period, and these two cats, Stanley and Callie, that were outdoor a lot of their time, now were sectioned off to a small bedroom. And it was one of those things where, God bless the man again, Ryan, and his skills. Like, he built a catio that extended off of that bedroom so we could open that window. Yes. And he literally just took scraps that were in his mother's garden shed of chicken wire and spare wood, and just built this structure and a little shelf and a little ramp down that they could actually sit and kind of scrounge around in the grass and on the dirt and sit there too. So it extended their living area, even though, we knew it was too small for them, but that was the situation we were in, was being able to just get a bit creative and create something like that. And then that way they could still go outside, and we weren't worried about them going missing when we eventually had to fly them back to the States. So it was one of those things where those catios are really, really powerful and helpful. And even if it's just a small little area that they, it helps you feel safe with letting them out, but also too, they can still experience the beauty of being outside and all the health benefits that can come from it.
Yeah. We need to borrow your husband.
I know. I was thinking,
can I have one, please?
There. Yeah. We're going to have to do a world tour.
Whenever we bring our kitties outside, I do think this is one of the greatest things. We can see them inside. I love observing them inside. But outside too, I just feel like it's such a special moment. Watch their eyes and their ears and their body language. And the sounds and the
sniffing everything.
Just it's fascinating to see, and it is an amazing thing to be able to do that. And I also think you need to go ahead and plan another Vegas trip, Dr. Katie.
With your husband.
With your husband.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell him to bring his tools.
I know. We'll just we'll put a whole suitcase together and check it on the plane. So he'll be ready. But one of the things I was going to say too, with what you just said, Adrian, is that the joy I experience when Tico goes outside. He his tail goes up and he runs out and he's like, meow, 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 meow. And he is not a vocal cat. And it was like, oh, and he's just like loving, and oh my God, I'm just like, this cat loves it so much. And so it's one of those things where like, it's so nice to be able to give him back some of that. Cause I know, he lived outside, he loves it, but at least I know he's safe, and he can experience that too while I'm with him. So.
And Julianne, I love what you said too about, it really is our decisions that we make. I know that this can be a controversial topic, indoor only, all the statistics are out there. Indoor only cats live so much longer than outdoor only cats. There really isn't any kind of science on indoor, outdoor.
The longest living cat had lived on a farm.
That's true. One of the oldest living cats
was indoor, outdoor.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I think, Julianne, that was a really good point too, to really recognize that it's our personal experiences. Pam, like you said, it's our environment. It's really recognizing what we're willing to be comfortable with. Dr. Katie, like you said, our cats are going to pick up on anything, if we're freaking out about it. And I do have flashbacks of watching that hawk eat a duck
in our front yard.
A duck that was bigger than all of our cats. It's like, that danger is out there, right? Like, and finding the ways that we can find the balance, our own personal balance for being able to give. Julianne.
Sorry. Laughing.
No, are you joking? Like, at a duck in your garden?
Yes.
In our front yard,
No.
yes. And that's how Jay broke her phone, was because there was like a creeper van in front of our house. Like a van
filming,
with no windows.
And I'm like,
just
why is
filming.
somebody filming our house? And I opened the door, and
she's
he
like,
was like,
confront him.
stop. There's a hawk eating a duck in front of your bush. And I was like, whoa. Then Zora was just a kitten and goes running out. And I threw the phone and grabbed my cat.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Right. So that's, like you said, though, and that's a really,
The hawks are a bit like, and owls too. I mean, we saw an owl go flying by us middle of the day, and this thing was like, I mean, it was probably like a good 6 to 7 foot wingspan. I was like, whoa, this is impressive.
I saw Mr. Milligan commented on those red-tailed hawks in Colorado that just fly off with a Volkswagen.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's a video of a hawk I saw. I don't know why it popped up, but it was like attacking a goat on a mountainside. And I was like, oh no. Like, I mean, they're hungry, right? I mean, that's the thing. A cat, I hate saying it, a cat will put up a fight, but a cat is small. And so you have to be aware of those things. And I mean, it's like we always say, not to create fear, to create awareness, and being smart about what we're doing. But also too, if we do have a cat that's indoor, outdoor, I mean, I imagine there's some release that when I lived in New Zealand, I did release some of that worry. Like, they're loving their life. Maybe their life will be a little bit shorter. Something might happen. And that's what creates that controversy around this topic, right? I'm sure, Julianne, you have some of that too, like the release when they go outside, like they're living their best life. And if it's their time, then it's their time. And sometimes there has to be some of that. And I know it creates a lot of angst saying that for a lot of people, but it's true. And that's why you see two camps of people a lot of times on this topic, where, people are really against it and people are all for it. And there can be a middle, right? It is the belief that we have, and each person will be different, which is a beautiful thing, right? Having different ways of doing things.
That's exactly it, right? There is no right or wrong, and people sit in those two camps because of their own experience and usually their own tragedy, right? So it's pain, it keeps them in that perspective, and that is completely understandable. However, things change. Everyone's different. Every human is different, and every single cat is different. So, when Pam and I shared this our live on we were going to go live on Facebook, and we had a comment saying like, oh, hope there's no judgment about what's right and wrong. We were like, no, there is no judgment, because there is no right or wrong. There is just information. We're trying to share our experiences because it might inspire someone. We're trying to share suggestions so we might help someone. There is no judgment about what is right or wrong. I'm sat here, like, my heart is starting to race about half an hour ago, because it's dark now. And I am desperate to get my boys in, right? I've had the cat flap go a couple of times. I heard a baby Max earlier. it's also absolute torrential rain. So I'm like, I'm nervous now. I want to get my boys in. So I know they're in, they're dry, they're safe, whereas Max is probably still out for another hour or so, So our own experiences, our own emotions do have to be managed as well as what is right for the cat. When I move in a couple months' time, I'm petrified because I'm going to have to do what Katie said. I'm going to have to keep the boys in a room as they acclimatize, as I deal with the situation. I have no idea how Leo's going to cope with that. Do I keep them together? Do I have them separate? How do I work that? I'll navigate it at the time. Today they've had a boring day because it's been raining. They've been a little unhappy. I'll go and play with them when we finish the call and get them in. Today they're safe. Tomorrow I'll deal with tomorrow, and however that looks when we wake up and we face it tomorrow.
Oh, I love it. Well, and it's perfect timing that you need to bring them in because we have reached the end of this roundtable event.
Any final thoughts though? Anything just sitting in your head right now, guys? Anybody? Tips for people that are thinking about their current situation or what's the lead?
My ex used to be worried that the cats, when I took them out in the harnesses outside, were going to get fleas, and there were not fleas in the yard. So just because you take a cat outside does not automatically mean it's going to get fleas. Just FYI. So it really depends on the area that they're in, and if there were, dogs that had fleas that come through there or live there, or it really depends on your area.
Yeah, it really depends on where you live, and there are very safe flea repellents that you can use as well for
DIY
even DIY repellents that you can use at home to help keep your cat safe from. And remember that fleas are attracted to the weakest of hosts. So the best thing that we can always do is keep our cats healthy, and the fleas will be less attracted to them. Anything else?
I think the big thing too is, if you tap into what feels right for you. And, this, like Julian just stated, is there's a lot of different ways we can help support our cats. And so, have fun with it and see what works best for you and for them. And, just have fun with it. Life is too short already. So try to have some fun in your cats, they don't live long enough already. So just, experience that with them, enjoy them, and, bring a little bit of fun. This is like the fun part, right? The environmental enrichment and like being outside with them and being present, so regardless of whether or not you believe this side or that side, just have fun with whatever works the best for you.
Yeah. And I want to reiterate what Julianne said about there's nothing that takes the place of your engagement with your cat. And so all the other things are really exciting and fun, but you still want to engage with your cat one-on-one.
Yeah.
All right, ladies, thank you so much for joining us for this awesome event.
We
are going to go check on this kitten that we are fostering right now.
I don't even think it's fostering. It's just
you saved.
Adjusting, adapting, integrating.
keeping her safe before we go check for her microchip. So
Yes.
you guys, thank you all so much for joining us. Ladies, thank you again so much. Julianne, go get your boys in.
Yes.
Tonight.
And we will be live again tonight at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time to give you guys a kitten update.
Probably a kitten update.
Yes. Yay. So we love you guys. Mwah. And we will see you soon.
Happy Monday, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.